Welcome to Nonsense Season 4, Episode 23, our big story on our second show of the week. I'm Jeff Parker.
I'm CJ Little.
This time we're looking at coding was only the beginning. The next 5 industries facing an AI overhaul. Up next.
First it came for the coders, Jeff, and you said nothing.
Because I was a coder, but coders don't like to talk to people.
First of all, you weren't a coder. You are a coder. That doesn't just leave. You're not like one day, like I no longer develop software. You're always developing software.
I do develop software, but I do a lot of AI coding now. A lot of vibe coding.
Okay.
I enjoy it.
First of all, I have to reevaluate our relationship if you're vibe coding now.
Have you not tried having the AI code for you?
I have a little. It does make me feel a little dirty. I'm more like let it write me like functions. I'm not like the full blown let me build the thing.
Oh, I started out doing functions. That's exactly how I started out.
Yeah.
And then I just got out of the way.
Yeah. The problem is I know what's buried down there. And then when I go look at it, it gives me the hives and I just can't.
No, it's beautiful code now. You haven't done it in a while. There's nothing I can write now that's much cleaner than what the AI writes.
I did have this idea a while ago where I was like, just don't look at the code, look at the executable. Then you'll be fine. You're like, oh, those ones and zeros.
No. Look at the code. Now look at the code.
Okay.
It's great.
What are you looking at? Python? What are you having to write stuff in?
I'm reluctant to say Rust because I know you're going to make fun of me.
No, I'm not. I love Rust. I'm pro Rust.
All right.
Esoteric weirdo.
I knew that was coming.
I do. I'm not being a smartass. I think it's a good choice. I really do.
Okay.
It's like a solution looking for a problem that it'll never find. But I think it's great.
Fantastic. Okay, the industry's AI hits next. Let's go.
I'm just happy that podcasting is safe.
Coding was the canary in the coal mine, but the mine just collapsed. If you thought AI was only coming for software engineers, think again. The era of pure digital disruption is over. The era of everything else has begun.
I love that in your mind, there's only 2 parts to the world. There's software engineering and then all the other stuff. Like, that's it.
What's your point?
What's
your point?
I'm just saying, I appreciate that you think that way, where you're just like, you're either making software or you're doing one of the other things.
From the operating room to the courtroom, algorithms have graduated from writing scripts to making life-altering decisions. We're watching 5 pillars of the global economy, healthcare, finance, retail, manufacturing, and law, undergo a total structural rewrite. It's no longer about a chatbot answering emails. It's about autonomous agents managing portfolios, robots designing their own parts, and diagnostics that see what humans miss. The sandbox period is over. It's time to take a hard look at the 5 industries currently being dismantled and rebuilt by AI and why the changes are moving faster than anyone predicted.
Okay, so let me understand this straight.
Yes.
You have a list of industries that AI is going to decimate.
I do.
And I have a list.
Yes.
So we're gonna like take turns giving our prognostication about which.
We'll interlace. Yeah.
Okay. And nice, good use of the word interlace.
Thank you.
And we'll prognosticate about which industries are likely to be the next that are disrupted. Is that sort of?
Yeah.
I mean, nobody really knows for sure, though, right?
Oh, no, I do. My list is not so much a list as is the answer sheet.
Oh, that's what we're gonna do now. I see.
Yeah.
I see. So I'll try to guess the right ones. Okay.
The short answer is anything that involves structured logic and high fidelity replication.
Great. The only things in life I find joy in.
Pretty much.
Great. Awesome. So chaos isn't being replaced yet. That'll be awesome.
Not so much, no.
But when you say structured logic, that tells me like the real estate agents are going to be fine because there's not a lot of logic going on over there.
Yeah, but the way houses are shown, and
Sure.
the paperwork, especially like in California where the paperwork's somewhat complex, that'll all go away. That'll all change.
It's just not the same when you take the AI and you put the low-cut top on it.
No.
And shove it into a Mercedes S-Class. It's not the same.
But you can see the tops of its transistors.
You can't see the good ones. The AIs that sell the homes are the ones that show off a couple transistors at the showing. They're just like, hey, look over here. Look at my dims. And if you're really lucky, it'll show you one of its dim slots. My AI agent likes to have 2 dims put into its slots at the same time. That's what it's...
I'm sure it does.
It prefers to be double banked.
Please stop. I'm begging you.
I'm more of a RAID 1 sort of girl. Oh, okay.
It's fun to have jokes no one will get. Legal services is my number 1 that I'm going to throw out there.
Wow.
The legal industry is moving past...
Good job, Kreskin.
I know.
Amazing.
But I think it's going to get even worse. I think now, I think you still have law firms who are still clinging to the old ways of doing things.
Well, you're always going to have that. That's not going to change. I think you're always going to have folks that just don't adapt to the change.
But I think those people are going to be slowly finding themselves with less and less work.
Oh, I would disagree with you about slowly.
Yeah.
I don't think there's to be anything slow about that.
I mean, there are so many kids who just graduated law school, and instead of hiring 20 kids fresh out of law school, most big firms will pick up 2 or 3. And those 2 or 3 all think they had, I made it, I made the cut. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
You made the cut for this week.
It begs the question, though, with the power of these efficiency tools, what is the number of lawyers that we need? Has that number gone up, down, or stayed the same?
It's probably gone way down. Think how fast AI can generate a contract, and that contract can have contemplated all sorts of things that individual lawyer might not have contemplated if he's never written that particular contract before.
Great point. But I've got 2 counterpoints to this. One, if you believe that AI is going to make a bunch of industries more efficient, which I think we can all kind of agree that's going to happen, then you can do more. And if you can do more, you're going to need more, right? You're going to need more, especially legalese. So I don't know what the balance is, but we keep applying like, the legal stuff that we're currently doing, we're going to be able to do much more efficiently. Well, maybe it goes down by, let's say, an efficiency factor of 80%, a massive number. Yeah. Well, if you get 5x the amount of stuff that comes out of it that you need, then you're even Steven.
Think about it in a really big case where you've subpoenaed a ton of emails.
For sure.
I mean, there's millions of emails.
Like discovery analysis and
yes, exactly.
For sure.
And all of a sudden the AI is going to do that in like a matter of seconds.
Of course, but like how many attorneys out there are going, oh man, you know what I love doing? I love reading discovery. That's my favorite thing.
But it's a huge part of the job.
I get.
Now we don't need those hours. Those billable hours are gone.
I get that, but will we have the opportunity to do more things with what was previously those billable hours? I don't really know. I'm not trying to be provocative. I really think there is this opportunity where we can do more because we have more tooling behind it. So if we can do more, you may need more effort from more attorneys. I don't know if it's going to go up by 10% or down by 80%. I just don't know, but I suspect those things are going to balance each other out. Yeah. If you're right now spending, let's make up a number and say 10 grand to draft a contract from your legal firm, and they're going to bill you for whatever 12 hours to understand what you're trying to do, the deal you're trying to do, and craft a contract. If that all gets replaced with 10 cents of compute, what is the value now that your attorney is providing? They're steering the AI. Are they just marking up their time more?
Yeah. At first, it's steering the AI, and it's making sure the AI isn't hallucinating.
But then not so much anymore.
But all that goes away. All that diminishes over time.
What does the role of the lawyer become? Are they just the one taking liability? Are they just putting a liability shield saying, well, you're using my LLMs, so now we're the liability shield on your contracts? I don't know. I'm making stuff up.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the value add is.
Where right now you're like, oh, hey, attorney, you've been doing this for 20 years. What's your thoughts of like, am I going to win in this case, right? If you're litigating. I think when you get that into data analytics and you get that into the world of compute, that just becomes a number that it spits out that you, of course, aren't going to trust. You're going to be like, 97.6% chance of winning this case. I don't believe you. But that's going to get really interesting, right?
That's a little bit like looking at these stats of the basketball teams and trying to predict who's going to win. You do actually have to play the game.
Sure.
You do have to actually get in front of the jury, and you do have to actually get in front of the judge, present your case, and be the guy who's got the best looking suit on and all the things that help you in persuading people that you are someone who is of merit that they should listen to.
But you are presuming that the judge stays the way the judge is. When the judge just becomes like a Ticketmaster event window that opens and you just must submit your case by 10 p.m. on Thursday the 12th, and then you just jam it in and then it just spits out an answer. Like, what then?
I like that idea because I think you can probably get a less prejudiced judge. If an AI is the judge, you can get I would hope. I mean, certainly that's what's happening in baseball in the strike zone. A person who was normally judging, is this a ball, is this a strike, is now very, very accurately, so we can all see applying the law is the same for everyone.
If you assume you're already going to have a big offset in the lawyering, right? The lawyers are going to be utilizing AI. You're going to have less lawyers. Should the same happen on the judge and clerking side? Should it be sort of equal? It kind of makes sense, I guess, right? One shouldn't necessarily lead the other. We've solved the problem. I like it.
Yeah, no, good work. Your turn, sir.
Okay, I like legal. I think that is kind of an obvious one. I'm going to let you do the obvious ones because you want your list to be perfect or whatever. I want to take some swings.
Yes.
Fashion.
I'm gobsmacked. Tell me more.
Fashion and apparel. Yeah. Here's the thought I have. You've got so much material. So like you have to kind of guess that people are going to like your stuff. And then you have to guess the sizes, right? And Temu already did this sort of just-in-time manufacturing where they try to analyze trends, show you a product that doesn't actually exist.
Sure.
And then you go, oh yeah, I'd buy those. And then they make them, right? It's sort of this on-demand, but they've already sold you the product before it even existed as a physical good. Once you sort of see that, I don't understand how we keep doing what we've been doing, right? The whole like make a product 6 months ahead of time, ship it out, and then let the retailers deal with clearance stock and all that. I think they call it dead stock, all that stuff that nobody wants. Yeah. So what if you rethink that through the eyes of AI and manufacturing, effectively like sewing machines become the 3 3D printers of clothes. And now you've got an AI looking at trends and just going like, hey, my cost to make this stuff is nominal.
Yeah.
And I see this current trend on TikTok that is people running around in marshmallow suits. And you're just like, I can make you a marshmallow suit, custom tailored to your size.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to take the viral part. You don't, I mean, I assume you would always take the sizing part, but now clothes just become this thing that is completely custom for you.
Well, even the sizing could be completely custom.
That's what I mean. The sizing,
can look at you over and say, I can make that perfectly for you. Yeah,
You've done a little body scan with your phone. Everyone's listening to the show's phone has LiDAR on it by now, right? So you do like a little scan of yourself and then you pump it into some equation, some algorithm looks at it and goes, okay, this is how big you are. This is how you cut the stuff. And now you want to get that jacket that you saw online. It just cuts the jacket for you and sends it to you. I don't see a world where something like that doesn't happen. It just seems so obvious to me.
But I like to go and try on clothes and see how they look on me.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I guess
you're right. We could never solve that problem with software. There's no way. How would we ever I can literally render Benjamin Franklin oil wrestling with Thomas Jefferson. And you're like, oh, how would it put clothes on me? I have no idea.
How would I look in that sport jacket?
Right.
It's not possible.
Anyway, I don't know. I see something like this. I can't tell you exactly when it's going to happen, but I do feel like a big chunk of that industry is going to get replaced, especially you think about all the management around the sort of logistics of the dead stock and just moving stock around. I think that's going to get wiped out. I'm not entirely sure how the manufacturing process is going to get changed so that you can have an autonomous system build clothes soup to nuts to a given size, but I do feel like that's a relatively easy to easy medium problem to solve. And when that's solved, one, we might actually get manufacturing back closer to here, because now what have you eliminated? Your marginal human cost.
Right.
So now you can just deploy the stuff in, a warehouse in Arizona and it just cranks out clothes. If you're a manufacturing depot that can make stuff, all of a sudden brands become just marketing. And now, do you have to have your own factory that makes jackets? As long as they can make them to your same specs, you have a set of factories that makes jackets all over the country. And then you put your brand on and be like, well, mine's brown and looks like this. And I stamp my brand on it. Every piece of clothing becomes custom. The only reason we couldn't do it before is because we had no way to manufacture stuff at that scale.
Yeah.
You basically put everybody into smaller boxes and you say, we've got 6 sizes. You can have any size you want as long as it's one of these 6. And once you go, well, no, if I can make the stuff and ship it cheaply, Amazon's figured out how to ship stuff cheaply.
Yeah.
So now it can all be one-off. And that is super cool to me.
That is kind of cool. The creative side of it still baffles me a bit. I still think you need someone who dreams up what these things will look like at some point. And
I think, though, at some point that's going to get steamrolled out. But at least for, let's say, the first part of this process, yes, you want someone that's picking the trends and saying this is what looks good and what doesn't. But at some point, if you're the clothing zeitgeist, the AI clothing zeitgeist just kind of figures it out. How do you drive the direction? I think it just becomes almost like an influencer thing.
Yeah.
Whoever gets the most views becomes the one that's driving that direction.
I guess there are actually still designers. I think back a few years, I have things that are from Calvin Klein that I really like.
Of course.
That were because Calvin Klein in his mind saw things a certain way.
Yeah.
They're not vastly different from everybody else's clothing, but they're different enough that I go, oh, I like that.
But I suspect there will be more James Purses.
I don't know, man. That's a one-of-a-kind brain. I don't think there's a ton of those. When Ralph Lauren sold his company, I have a hunch that all the assets of the business walked out the door between his ears.
There's a pretty big asset in the brand. I think in terms of growing the brand, most of that was probably between his ears. Sure. I'm looking at this differently. Are there brains out there that can design things like a Loren or a Pierce that currently aren't because they haven't come across the capital? Or
maybe.
So I think this unlocks those.
Yeah.
Right? You get more of those. I'm not saying everybody should. I'm not saying you and I should be designing pants, although I think we should. It'd be really funny.
No.
But the point is, there's a larger subset of people that can design clothing well than the ones that are currently. And I think this unlocks that.
Yeah.
Anyway, legal. Yeah. Amazing that you came up with that. Such a prophetic thing.
Fashion is pretty good. I don't think that's happening anytime soon, but I think that's very cool. And I like where you're going with it.
It's already happening though. You're already seeing this on Temu.
Let me come back to one now that's happening right now.
Oh, another layup? Okay. So another layup.
I'll give you another layup. Accounting services.
Wow. Math?
Yeah.
Wow.
Accounting isn't just being disrupted. It's being structurally rewritten. The industry has moved past simple automation into agentic accounting where AI doesn't just suggest edits, it executes the workflow.
Yeah.
Data entry is long gone. I mean, that's long gone. You snap a picture of a bunch of receipts and they all get put in perfectly.
Sure. The only reason AI came for software development before accounting was because AI was built by software developers and we wanted to help ourselves.
Yeah, they wanted to make their own lives easier.
But I would argue the only thing that is more logically straightforward than software development is accounting. I'm pretty sure, let's say, I don't know, around 15 years ago, you could just feed everything into Clippy and it could have done all this. Microsoft just wanted to sell more Great Plains licenses and they didn't do it. I don't feel like this is a far stretch to be able to just feed everything in and be like, here's your answer, and it just spits it out.
I think think currently we're probably at a point where bookkeeping is maybe 80% touchless. That's going to be 100% in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, is 80% based on what baseline? What are you measuring back
because
to?
you still have to categorize transactions. You've got to flag anomalies.
No, I understand, but you're saying
all that's going to get fixed.
It's 80% touchless of like the total volume of work. Okay, I see what you're saying.
I mean, most of that now can be automated. Most of that the AI can figure out. There's still just a handful of things where you just go, I don't know what category to put this under.
80% might be a low watermark currently. I don't know. I feel like it's higher. We have to go talk to some big enterprise accountants to see. Like, I'm sure they all want to preserve their job and their partner status, but I feel like a lot of those things now are doable. Like, what are you really still touching? What's the thing you're still doing? I feel like, and I mean, I've been saying this now for at least 2, if not 3 decades. Tax preparation.
Well, that's the big one.
Why there's a human in that chain makes no sense to me. Yeah, I'm 100% with you on this one.
Okay.
Amazing foresight. Incredible.
Thank you.
Has anybody else come up with this?
No one. It's just me.
The amount of thought and effort you must have put into figuring out that accounting is going to be replaced by AI.
I'm like Kreskin.
This one I would put under the bucket of layup, but it doesn't get talked about a lot.
Oh, you're doing a layup now, huh?
It's layup-esque.
Yeah.
I want to give you a bone here on this one. Education. I think education, and specifically like what we would now call tutoring, like a custom education development.
Yes.
That to me.
I'm going to interrupt you and just say this is also my number 3, so we can combine and just discuss it, because this is the exact number 3 that I have.
Oh, jumping on the bandwagon. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I told you it was an easy one.
When you come in to do the layups, I do them too. That's what I do.
I think that becomes the alley-oop. I don't know anything about basketball.
No, clearly.
It does seem like, again, go back to the example I used with clothes. We made clothes in different sizes because you could only make a finite number of sizes. The number had to be relatively small. You just get to fit in one.
They call that the assortment.
Yes. I think the same thing for education. We have taught in a way because we didn't
one
really
size
have
fits all.
A better way. Yeah.
Right.
And we had found ways like, okay, hey, we're going to do a lecture and then we're going to do some homework. And then I'm thinking about like secondary school here.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have labs. Like those are all different ways to teach the same material.
And if you missed a lesson or you didn't comprehend a concept in, say, mathematics, and you didn't figure that out, you were one of those students that just fell behind and it kept getting worse.
Especially for things like in math where things stack up. And if you don't get one of those concepts, you are absolutely hosed.
The AI can see you're not getting this concept, and it can keep teaching you that and showing it to you in different ways until eventually the light goes on and you go, oh, that's it.
Also, the other version of that, which is you already know these things. We don't want you to get bored. You don't have to spend any time on this. Let's rocket you into the things that you don't know. Be able to dial in the education to what is the best for your human. I think some people refer to it as it's like the infinite Socratic method, because now everyone can have their own sort of Socratic method. Once I start thinking this way, I don't even know why we're still teaching the way we're teaching right now.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I know logistically it's mainly because you've got to get the teaching staff up to speed on this, and that it's not going to be a short or easy process. It's going to take some time.
Well, that's why the tutoring will go first.
What do you mean?
Because you don't have to be a credentialed tutor. You can be a tutor. You can be a fabulous tutor and have no credentials. Now you can go online and you can talk to the AI and it can tutor you. That will happen before the classroom education system in schools begins to be effective.
Sure. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Just because it can get there faster.
Yeah, there's less resistance.
For all sorts of reasons. That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I think the tutoring should ultimately go away. To me, the tutoring should be the learning. Like what we now call tutoring should become the learning.
As you know, I have taught many people to code, and I enjoy the process of watching the lights go on.
Sure.
As I communicate things in many different ways until I eventually get them. Okay, great. And now I understand. That all goes away. The last guy that I taught to code, AI was in existence.
Yeah.
And I said, here's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
You're going to download this compiler. And I actually started him on Rust. I said, you're going to download this Rust compiler. You're going to install it on your machine. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You're going to go to Gemini and you're going to ask it, how do I install a Rust compiler?
You just taught him how to fish.
Yeah. And I kept walking him through the little bits.
Yeah.
And I taught him Gemini.
Yeah.
And he went, oh, that's how you do it. Now write me a program that does this. And Gemini helps him, gives him all the code and everything. And he starts, and little by little, the lights were coming on so fast. And I did almost nothing. Literally in an evening, he learned to the basics of coding. Toward the end of the evening, I said, now go to Gemini and ask, what's another project I should do? What's another little coding project I should do that can teach me something slightly new? Just a little bit of new stuff.
Yeah.
And he started doing that and it worked great. And as I walked out the door, the very last thing I said to him is, now I want you to go to the AI and I want you to ask it, what is GitHub?
Okay.
And by the next day, he was committing his code. He knew what he was doing. It was like, this is the easy, I've never had such an easy time teaching someone how to do something. This is wonderful.
This is customized learning. And I think that's what's so amazing. Yeah. More importantly, you taught that individual how to fish. Yeah. That to me is the most amazing part.
But mostly Gemini did the work.
Of course. That's the fishing part.
Yes. And he'd never used an AI before. He'd literally never used an AI before. He was blown away by, I need some sort of what they call a command line to be able to get this to load. Well, ask Gemini. It'll tell you how to do it.
As
and
you go
did.
around the Rubicon, I've started to find, because I've done this with people where they'll like, call me for things. And I'm like, well, let me just show you. Like 20 years ago, you showed people how to Google stuff.
Yeah.
And then that was sort of like the answer. And then you still get some calls that will trickle through. Now you sort of show them how to Gemini stuff.
Or whatever other AI. I'm not pushing Gemini.
Of course,
any other AI.
AI,
It's just
whatever.
Any AI.
The thing.
Sure.
My point is, you taught them how to search. Now you sort of teach them how to query an AI.
No, sure, they don't need us.
Nobody calls me anymore. They don't need anything. I've taught everybody how to, like, oh, this is what it feels like to be the buggy whip salesman guy.
Should we move on to my next one?
Layup?
Absolutely. Architecture and construction design.
Oh, I wouldn't call that a layup.
It has become a layup in my mind because I've just used it. Remodeling my son's bathroom and basically photographing the space and inputting the photographs and saying, now, how can I more usefully use this space?
Okay.
And it created several potential layouts, one of which was the one that I went with.
Was this a custom construction AI or just like regular old Gemini?
No, this is regular old Gemini. This is bland, boring as it gets.
Really?
And it laid out the room. Now, I weeded through some choices, but it laid out the room beautifully.
This one's got a giant dolphin on the wall. That's out. What is this a fireman's pole? That's out. Like what? Did you give it a floor plan or just pictures? Just
pictures.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Did you give it any measurements or did it just assume them or infer them? I guess infer them.
It inferred them. Exactly. It inferred
like
measurements.
stud spacing or something like that.
I don't know exactly how it did it.
Whatever.
But it came out with the right measurements.
Oh, I should have been at your house. I would have totally screwed with it. I would have bought like an oversized beach ball or like a basketball that was 3 times the size and put it in there so that it thinks your entire bedroom is miniature. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I did not expect you to say that you would.
And all sorts of things that are code now.
Yeah.
I mean, I took pictures of inside the walls and everything when the walls were open.
Wait a minute.
What is California code for where I live? How is this supposed to be? Yes. And it knows.
So you're basically saying that good old vanilla beige Gemini is smarter than 98% of the contractors out there.
I can't speak for the contractors, but I can tell you Gemini had everything pretty much exactly right.
Wow. That is pretty impressive. That is cool.
Local Los Angeles building codes. There's all sorts of requirements and things that you have to do, and you've got to take your stuff into the plan check.
Yeah, but if you want the teeter-totter, if you want things to continue to go faster, you got to fix the other side too, which is the plan check side.
Plan check should be using AI for sure.
Yeah.
Because humans are looking over that. It's a ridiculous process. The reason that architecture is so similar to accounting and coding is the rule book. Coding has syntax. Accounting has GAAP and tax law.
Yeah.
Architecture has physics and building codes. It's a very simple thing that you can see why we iterate from one to the other. They're all very similar.
Sure.
Your turn, sir.
Let me do my next one here. This one is I think probably the most controversial that I'm willing to bring up in this particular setting.
Yes.
This is not going to make a lot of friends, but I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Insurance. And specifically the actuarial science behind it.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I think, something that makes a lot of people queasy, but this could be something where you're paying truly tailored insurance. Like if you could dial in the exact amount of premium for the exact amount of risk that you are creating, that's kind of fascinating. That's really the way that it should be. Mm-hmm. Now, all the people that are high risk, of course, are going to hate this idea because
they're going to pay more in premiums, sure.
Yeah, right now they're getting a free ride, or not a free ride, but a partially free ride.
Yeah.
And all the people that are low risk, I assume, would love this idea because they're low risk. Mm-hmm. But I love the idea of it being real time or near real time. I think this is controversial because there's a lot of things about this I don't like the idea of, because there are areas where I think I might be considered a higher risk bucket.
Sure.
But like, for example, we talked on the show some time ago about the folks that were buying cars, and part of their contract was offloading their driving data to their insurer.
Yeah.
Right. That was built in as part of their contract.
This is the problem with having AI looking at insurance data.
Well, but now you certainly have some, let's set aside the privacy constraints for a second, right? You have some real privacy risks, but the idea of being able to dial in insurance, like if you are consistently driving erratically and changing lanes without signaling and, speeding at 2x the speed limit, you are without a doubt a higher risk.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
And if you have some basic item that can detect if you're driving when you're intoxicated, you are a higher risk. Yeah. You should be paying a higher premium. That should be the case, or maybe not even driving. And if you're not doing those things, you should pay a less premium. To me, driving is the easy one.
Driving is the first one to go away because autonomous driving is
exactly.
so nipping at its heels that it won't really matter.
But you know what's not going to go away? My new GE Monogram fridge, that when I open the fridge and it goes, hey, Chubby, we see you grab the cake at 2 a.m. Maybe put that back or your healthcare premiums are going up by $8 a month. Like, you want that and you don't want that.
You got so many privacy issues here.
Right?
I am grimacing at the privacy issues.
But let's just assume for a moment we can solve the privacy issue. Let's assume for a moment that you can make this all run locally, which is feasible.
It's a huge jump.
I don't think it's that huge of a jump. You could run everything locally. You could have everything so that it's not putting back any PII. Like, let's just assume for a second there's a path. Okay. Is this a world we want to live in? And I'll tell you, honestly, I don't know. Because part of me is like, yes, exactly. Absolutely. And part of me is like, this is a terrible idea.
It's a terrible idea.
And again, that's with me setting the privacy constraints aside. But the current version is, one size fits most. And that's not a better solution.
So much of hey, fatty, you probably shouldn't have that piece of cake at 3 a.m. in the morning. And you can say, look, my genetics can handle it.
No, it would know that.
Your genetics can't.
No, I'm saying specifically the one that would talk to me would say, hey, fatty, you can't have the cake.
I know.
If your genetics can handle it, it would just be like, sir, would you like more cake? That's exactly what it should do, right? It should know these things. That's the whole point of the customization.
That's a bigger problem. If it starts assessing premiums based on what it knows about your genetics, that's even bigger issue.
Isn't that the whole freaking point? Again, set the privacy. It's a concern because of privacy. Again, I'm really torn on this. I feel like I'm running down the path of the Mobius strip, and I keep going from the one side of this is a good idea to the other side of this is a terrible idea, but I'm on the same side the entire time. Like, it's not, I really don't know the answer to it because it really should be dialed into the amount of risk that you're creating. That is the right answer. But there's one thing I know for sure. There's not much I'm confident of. One thing I'm confident of is this is not going to go away. Yeah. You have this tool. We now have to figure out how to wrestle with it. Yeah. So we've got to solve this and find some middle ground where I don't think you're going to find happiness. I think you're going to find a tighter pendulum swing. You're just going to be less bad and less good. Just kind of like, oh, okay, this feels like this is probably the middle. What else you got?
Let's hope. My last one is going to offend everyone I know in my neighborhood. And that is, I think acting is basically going away.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. Okay, well, you say the best ones for last.
Yeah, the actors who are brand names, the ones who sell tickets, right? Those people are still good because that's a viable brand. You're actually selling the tickets. You're opening a movie or whatever you're doing. Everybody else, your part can be created by an AI, and it's not going to ask for a break to go to the bathroom, or it's not going to arrive late on the set because it hit traffic, and all those things are going to just evaporate.
Sorry, there was a lot of data going between LAX01 and LAX02 on the fiber, so I'm a little late to show up for the casting.
So I'm a nanosecond late.
Okay, so first of all, this is awesome. Here's the really good news from an acting perspective.
Yes.
This gives real opportunity for acting to all of the ugly people, because now all of the ugly people can make their own
get a job too.
Virtual No. Well, that just neutered that one now, didn't it? Because now they can make, you're not going to have a finite set of actors. I would argue, if anything, with AI, you're going to get more actors, more virtual actors, and now those can be created.
Yeah.
The fascinating part to me is you think about like what is acting, and now you can create that, and that to me is kind of amazing.
Yeah, it's not that films are going away. It's not that entertainment is going away. It's just how we make it is completely changed.
Yes.
There's a big SAG-AFTRA negotiation 2026 that was concerned about likeness and rights issues.
Yeah.
That's not going to matter for those people who aren't brand names, those people whose faces haven't been out there, who can open a movie.
I would argue even for the people that have brands and are brand names, the people that are brand names, they're going to have short-term value in that. That's not a long-term thing. I agree with you. It's different for them.
Well, sure.
But it's still, that is short-term. Like long tail, these are your options as a human actor. You can either profit from your likeness or you cannot. That's it.
There's no need to.
But that's my...
Why do I spend 1 cent on you if you're not a known value who sells tickets? I can create a brand new human from the AI.
Sure.
I don't need to have your likeness. I can just have some other person created out of whole cloth.
Well, because maybe we need to shift some of the value to the actors being in real life and what they do in real life. Because the one thing you don't have from a virtual AI actor is an in real life version of it. So your likeness does...
it's harder to put them on the Tonight Show to promote your movie, for sure.
Now when the Tonight Show's all AI. Like that I disagree with you there. But like for them to be out and actually meet a human. But then you get into this whole virtual influencer, which I am fascinated by. Like these influencers that are completely 100% virtual. They're AI created. Yeah. And then they go out, quote unquote, into the real world and take pictures with like, here I am with Mike Tyson at a Super Bowl party. And you're like, wait a minute. One of those is real and one of those isn't.
Yeah.
And I believe it to be a real image. They've just, superimposed the AI character.
I'm not even sure it's a real image anymore.
Some of the ones I've seen, I believe, are.
Can you tell? I see tons of them now that are completely convincing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting world we're going into. My only point is, I still think there is some value in the human AI actor over a completely synthetic one, but we're not making that valuable. We have to see what value that has. And it might not have as much as we think it has previously, or as much as it has now. Mm-hmm. But that's it. Your choice is you either get some value of your likeness or you don't.
Yeah.
And now there's a whole new class of people that get to make AI actors that did not exist a couple years ago.
Pakistan and India both are creating feature films from AI. fully generated feature films.
Yeah.
Now, the first ones might be terrible. The first 20 might be terrible, but eventually somebody's going to figure out how I lean into the AI and do things that I could never afford to do.
Totally.
If I were, even if I had a tentpole budget, I couldn't do.
Afford to do things you couldn't do. Things that just weren't possible.
Things that I can create in some way that I can create super, super cheaply by just requesting this from the AI, from prompting the AI to give me this shot.
And here's the best part of that. They can make that entire production, right, tip to tail, and they don't have to close the streets in your neighborhood once.
I love that.
Some number of people in this industry here are going to embrace this, in addition to all the people that aren't in this industry, right? But some number of people here are going to embrace it, and those are going to be the ones that are going to win.
I think you might have an advantage if you aren't in this industry. I think you might have an advantage if you're coming in
some ways, because you're
not held back by the legacy thoughts.
In some ways, I think you're right. Yeah, exactly. You're thinking from a whole, like the position of what it could be, not what it has been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like this one. Acting is a good one.
All right, that's my non-layup. What's your last one?
My last one, maybe as controversial to me as insurance, maybe not, but I'll just throw this in here. And this is one where I don't know what I want with the insurance side to happen. This one, I don't even want to say it, but I'm going to say it. Cooking.
Yeah.
Food science.
Yeah.
I still don't know exactly where AI is going to find the most value in the cooking chain. But I already read somewhere, I read some article about an AI discovering that there were certain molecules in blue cheese and chocolate that were identical, and they led to this fusion dish that sounded absolutely disgusting, but then you taste it
probably
and it's
delicious.
like amazing. So that kind of stuff, I don't see a world where that's not going to happen, right? That's 100% going to happen.
I'm always amazed when I go to these molecular gastronomy tastings, and there's just things that sound absolutely disgusting, and many of them are absolutely disgusting. But there's always a few that it's like, who in the world ever thought that up? That combination of flavors is fantastic.
Absolutely. Anyway, I'm excited to see what happens there, but I very much like your acting and entertainment. I think cooking is going to be the other one that's going to be super interesting. I'm excited about that.
I'm excited about the whole thing. Every aspect of this we've discussed, it will cause enormous disruption. It will be very hard on a lot of people. We are going to go through a seismic change in how people work. And you know what? It's still going to be, it's really cool.
Which one are you most excited about of change coming? Which one are you the least excited about change?
I am the most excited about seeing movies that are made entirely on AI from someone who spends a couple $1,000 and makes a tentpole movie. I am the least excited about seeing movies that are made by AI, and most of which are going to be just dreadful.
Really?
Oh, yeah. There's just going to be some awful, awful acting.
Oh, but don't watch those. The AI will tell you not to watch those.
Right.
I see you're trying to watch.
By the way, it's like movies are now.
Number 6. Don't do that.
Right. People make really bad movies now, and you have to sort through and find the good ones too. But I think that's probably the one that I think is going to be the most interesting.
Oh, that's cute.
It's going to have both sides.
I think I'm the most excited about the creative explosion that I'm optimistic we're going to see with AI tools around what would call acting or entertainment. I'm actually very excited about that.
Yeah.
Which one am I least excited about?
That's the question.
Man, I don't know. It's probably somewhere between insurance and cooking, and I have no good reason to tell you why. I guess that's kind of a lie. I'm excited about all of these. I think these are all actually very exciting. We picked ones that were exciting.
Yeah, that's true. All right, we have to get out of here, but quickly before we do, have you seen or read anything good this last week?
Well, as you well know, and I think most of our listeners do, I am an avid listener of Ben and David at the Acquired podcast.
Of course.
Like most of the content that I enjoy, I try really hard not to binge it. I like to spread my content out. I don't want to rip through everything and then just hit the end.
Yeah.
That is not the way my brain works. So I usually reserve their episodes for long road trips. And last week on the drive to Yosemite, I listened to their Formula One episode.
Oh, yeah.
It is a masterclass in business strategy. It's a fantastic story.
Sure.
It tracks F1's wild evolution from a deadly money-losing European racing series into a $30 billion global powerhouse.
Yeah.
And whether you're a fan of the racing or just interested in how Liberty Media used Netflix to crack the U.S. market and turn every team into a $1 billion plus asset, the deep dive is essential listening. Now, I'm a car fan. I'm a racing fan. I went to Formula One races when I was a kid. I've always loved it. You do not have to be a fan of cars or racing to enjoy this episode. It's really part like engineering World Cup, which the engineering in F1 is amazing. Like
insane.
Second only maybe to NASA and the ESA. It's part what they say Real Housewives of the Garage, which I think is
sure,
super cute. And the whole thing is just entirely fascinating. So I think folks listen to our show would love this. It's Acquired's Formula One episode. This is from March of this year, 2026. And I suggest you guys all go listen to it wherever you get your podcasts.
Awesome.
How about you?
Death by Lightning, a 4-part high-stakes historical thriller detailing the assassination of President James A. Garfield. Sounds boring? Not even close. Starring Michael Shannon as the intellectually brilliant Garfield and Matthew McFadden as his deluded killer. The series exposes a nation at a crossroads. Garfield's unwavering integrity stood against a tide of widespread graft and corruption personified by political titans like Roscoe Conkling. While Garfield sought to reform a broken system, he was ultimately betrayed by medical arrogance. Doctors who ignored germ theory and turned a survivable wound fatal.
Oh boy.
Featuring Nick Offerman and Bradley Whitford, the story proves that America moves fastest under leaders of deep intelligence. When such light is extinguished by chaos and greed, an entire nation is left in the dark.
Amazing to me that this really wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
And you had a president of the United States die of effectively infection.
Yeah, the bullet would not have killed him. He could have left the bullet there and he would have been fine.
Doctors, and I use that term extremely loosely, who were just like, put more leeches on him. He'll be fine.
It wasn't quite that, but I mean, the doctor even says, I don't believe in ghosts. There's no such thing as germs that are infecting him and all this. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, that's when germs were in the ghost bucket.
Hit the space bar.
It turns out I don't believe in ghosts.
But I do believe in germs.
I have been to a daycare, and let me tell you, I believe in germs.
Germs are real. Death by Lightning on Netflix now.
I want to check this out. I think this sounds way more interesting than
it's so good.
I think a lot of people give it credit.
That is the episode.
Thank you for joining us for all of this nonsense, a truly terrible podcast from our awful company. Visit us on the web at nonsense.productions. I'm CJ Little.
I'm Jeff Parker.
If you like this program, please follow, download, subscribe, and like at Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, AntennaPod, iHeartRadio, Spotify, my favorite Overcast, or wherever you may get your podcasts from.
Nonsense uses the Internet Archive, a nonprofit digital library offering free universal access to digitized collections of books, movies, software, music, websites, and more. Through initiatives like the Wayback Machine, users can explore snapshots of over 866 billion web pages, providing invaluable insight into the evolution of the Internet and human knowledge. The Internet Archive, if you haven't already, check it out.
We'll be here every Tuesday and Thursday mornings for more nonsense. Please join us.
Right now, if I brought an autonomous robot over to your house, what would you want it to do?
But I don't know. I struggle with this. What would I have the robot do? I wouldn't. I'm sure I wouldn't have it cook. I'd want it to do other things so that I could cook. I would say maybe 3 or 4 times out of 7 during the week, I would have it cook for me. Like, I enjoy it, but it's the difference between it having to be utility and fun. And I'd say maybe 50% of the time I can still have good fun and have the utility the other times.
When you don't want to cook on those nights, we have these things called restaurants.
Go on.
Tell me more.
Tell me more. What future do you live in?